This is what happens when I miss rehearsal, guys. So welcome everybody. I'm Franklin Escovedo. I'm the president-elect of YALSA, and I'd like to thank you for joining us today. And so I want to introduce myself. I'm Franklin, and then Kelly, I'll hand this over to you, Kelly.
Sure, thank you. So thank you all for joining us for our member forum that will hopefully become a quarterly event. And my name is Kelly Zarnicki. I'm the current YALSA president. My pronouns are she, her. And if the board can continue introducing yourselves, I see some of you in the audience and on the panel, and then we'll go to YALSA staff if that sounds good. Tracy, you want to go ahead?
Yeah, sorry. Hi, I'm Tracy Glass. I am the Assistant Director for the Lincoln City Libraries in Lincoln, Nebraska, and I am a director on the board. This is my, just ending up my first year as a board director, and my pronouns are she, her.
Thanks, Tracy. And Valerie, I see you in the audience, so I think you have the ability to chat, not talk, not sure. But just to introduce Valerie, she is also a board member, a director at large board member. So welcome, Valerie. And YALSA staff, if you want to introduce. Oh, Abigail, we've got Abigail. I didn't mean to pass you.
No,
Abby,
it's okay.
welcome.
I didn't know when I should go. My name is Abigail Phillips. I'm an assistant professor at the School of Information Studies at the University of Wisconsin-Milwaukee. And I'm a director on the board, and my pronouns are she, her.
I am Lamoya Burks, interim executive director of YALSA. Welcome.
Hi, I'm Carla Jameson, and I am the program officer with YALSA, and happy to be here this evening. Nice to see all of you.
Hi, I'm Letitia Smith, membership coordinator and I am happy to be here with all of you. And you probably know me as the email person because I send all of you emails asking you to join Fantastic YALSA.
Thanks all. And I see some incoming board members too. So thank you all for introducing yourself in the chat. We've got Colleen, Josie, and Matthew, and some other people are coming on. So welcome as well. And I see names too of people that I know are on committees or have been. So I think we have a real mix of folks here. So just a great place, you know, that we're going to be able to ask questions and share our different experiences. So I'm looking forward to it. So I think the first thing we have is Lamoya, the interim executive director, is going to talk about like the state, quote unquote, of YALSA. So kind of what we've been working on, where we're at and where we're looking to go.
Good evening and good afternoon to others. Welcome to our very first member forum. We thought to do this to make sure that we definitely presented effective communication. And so being a fresh member of the team, I wanted to make sure that I did lead the charge in going forward alongside our team members here and nationwide, and ensuring that the spirit of YALSA goes forward, and that includes all of you here today. As soon as my screen will go. In speaking of that, we would be remiss if we did not stand true to the mission and vision of YALSA. YALSA vision is that all teens from a variety of backgrounds, including but not limited to ability, class, gender identity, sexual orientation, race, religion, and power differentiated groups will have access to quality library programs and services no matter where they occur, and they are tailored to their communities and create new opportunities for all teens to promote personal growth, academic success, and career development, while linking teens and staff to resources, connecting learning opportunities, coaching, and mentoring. The mission is through networking, advocacy, and professional development. YALSA empowers all those involved in the profession to provide equitable, diverse, and inclusive teen services. And here is, I put special emphasis on the certain words or verbiage in the mission and vision because many of those things are embedded in our strategic plan. And going forward as leaders, it is very important that we be instrumental in walking those things and those very words that we have placed here. In speaking of strategic goals and priorities, ALA, or American Library Association, has began a very diligent task of putting forward what we call the strategic pivot strategy that is led by our very own Executive Director, Tracy Hall. Emphasis for YALSA going forward in an effort to improve membership. What do members desire? That is a strong focus of YALSA. I'd like to say before I even came on board here in February, and in going forward, we want to specifically identify what do members desire in an effort to provide continuing education in answering how do we meet the need of membership. There are a variety of goals, again, that are outlined in the strategic plan that are led by your beautiful board here. And again, links to you as membership as we continue to go forward with all things YALSA. Again, communication is our third integral piece that we want to give special attention to. And through communication, we will best know, how will we know that these the strategic plan and the advocacy that we put forward is effective? What are those indicators? Again, we are looking to increase membership, but it is not alone in increasing membership that we know that we will be effective in what we do. So again, and you'll hear this throughout this meeting as well as many others, we need you. In going forward with that truth, We have already began. I can tell you there is evidence. Many of you, or some of you here, or some of your friends have received already in the mail a postcard, as you will see presented here. There are some that we miss. So we charge everyone here in the spirit of YALSA to grab one, grab two, grab all of your colleagues, mentors, friends, and thereof to join or rejoin YALSA. You do see that we do have a free registration chance to win, to attend our symposium in Baltimore, Maryland. Again, we are highlighting what we do offer for member benefits, community resources, and opportunities as a member benefit or benefits of being a part of YALSA. Our new members, we are excited that we have embarked on so many already beginning January 2022. And we are thoroughly excited to see evidence that you are already engaged. There were 70 out of the many emails to new members for a total of 150 already that have been opened that detail how you can become involved with YALSA. Programs and initiatives, again, to go along with the strategic plan that does detail the importance of YALSA, we have gone a step further to include focus areas for the populations that we serve: mental health, educational persistence, reading and digital literacy, and incarceration of youth, as well as livable wage attainment. These areas are weaved and will continue to be weaved into the strategic plan and the work that the board and membership will lead the charge in planning, organization, and advocating for communities. Again, I will tell you, we need you. And here at the end of the meeting, and if in contacting any one of the board members here at YALSA and staff, if you want to know more about any of these areas, we have room for you. One last example of how we are implementing education and advocacy for YALSA. We do have a new YALSA e-course that staff, Carla Jameson, has led the effort alongside Letitia Smith in supporting YALSA board and membership. A place to belong, supporting neurodiversity and mental health in your library. Please tell one, tell all to enroll in this 4-week course that will begin July 11th and end on August 5th. Registration amounts are found there. Again, you are encouraged to come be a part. For more information, or if you have questions, comments, or concerns, I first encourage you as priority to reach out to your elected YALSA board members. And then as a support mechanism next to your YALSA board, you are welcome to contact myself or staff members. My contact information, preferably by email, is found above at lburks@ala.org. And I look forward, and I am already enjoying serving you. Thank you.
Awesome. Thank you, Lamoya. So does anybody have any questions, thoughts, comments? And it's okay if you don't. It's a lot of new information to take in, but I just wanted to ask. So we have a lot going forward. If you all, this might be the first time hearing about it, so you'll definitely hear more about it as we go on. So yeah, all good. Oh, great question. Wondering how the focus of the task forces has changed since the pandemic. Ooh, that is a great question, Christine. So yeah, feel free. Any board members want to jump in? Any changes that you've all seen that we've implemented or had to adjust with the pandemic?
You know, if I can speak to that, the focus hasn't really changed. It's just the implementation process has been delayed. And that we're still trying to, like, especially that EDI task force, we're trying to make sure that is being implemented. So it didn't go as fast as we wanted. And a lot of, you know, we've hit these obstacles. We've been dealing with the pandemic, dealing with staff shortages at home. but they're still on our radar. We're still trying to get them implemented. It just didn't move as quickly as we wanted to. So we are still focused on those things, but it's just going to be a lot of, it's taking time and a lot longer. And some of us on the board have been flustered, but like me and Kelly keep saying, we're just going to keep moving forward. And with Lamoya's help and with the staff's help, we keep moving this forward. It just didn't happen as quickly as we wanted to. But if there's something that's really out of alignment, because we're also trying to make sure that we keep it within our strategic plan as well. And it's just going to take a little more time. And when I talk about volunteer opportunities, that's where you come in. So that's what we really need to make sure. But our focus is still the same thing. It's just, like I said, the pandemic was this roadblock that we were not expecting. And it really just slowed us down, but we have not stopped. We are still pushing forward. And if it takes a few more years, we're going to get it done. But we can't do that without the volunteers. And so we need people keep volunteering. I know a lot of people got flustered and felt like we stopped. We haven't. It's just, it's moving slower. I always remind people it took us 8 years to change our logo. So, and something you think would be really simple, it took us 8 years to do it. So just remember, it's a process, and it happens too. We have a lot of board members who are on the board, who roll off the board, and it's our ED that keeps us on pace. But sometimes stuff goes askew, but we're still working on it, and we just keep chugging along. So don't give up on us, and we're not giving up. We're going to push it through. And if we have forgotten something, let us know and reach out to any of the board members. We're here to help. We're actually here representing you too, because this is why we ran for board, because we're making sure that our fellow librarians are supported and we're continuing the mission that we set out for, because we need volunteers, and we want to make sure that this is what we're getting done for everybody in the country, everybody who works with teens. That is what's important. So.
Yeah, thank you, Franklin. Totally agree. And I see Colleen's comment too, where we've developed strategies to help members, like the short-term leave plan. So, you know, Abby, Valerie, or Tracy, I don't know if you guys have had any experience with, you know, being liaisons and having people take short-term leave. So that's been a great piece, I think, of our work. And Colleen, you're absolutely right. So I feel like we've gained more patience too, and just, you know, like you said, Franklin, we're all facing, you know, probably staff shortages and stuff in our own, which, you know, affects our work with YALSA in terms of just having more patience and knowing things might take a little bit longer. But yeah, other than that, yeah, we're still forging ahead. Does that answer your question, Christine, or was there anything more specific or particular that you wanted us to speak to? Oh, and there's a scuba Hello Kitty. Oh, that's your poster, Franklin. Yes. I know, I'm always noticing different things in Franklin's office, so it's great. All right, yeah, so keep the questions coming, please. We wanted to talk too, I think, specifically about volunteer opportunities that are currently available. And Franklin, me, Letitia, anybody wanna jump in? I've got a few, and feel free to go ahead, Franklin.
Yeah, one of our ladest one, and it's really new. It's a new advisory board for Teen Programming HQ. We are looking for volunteers to help serve on the advisory board, and it's a brand new one. I'm in talks with the chair. Hopefully, we'll have a chair put in place. But there are still a lot of opportunities to volunteer. A lot of the advisory boards need some more members. If you're new and you're not sure about something, I think the teen programming issue is the only one missing from the website. Everything else is up, but we're working on getting it up on the website. But if you love research, we have places on the research committee. If you like editing, we have places on the YALS editorial board. We still have, we have a couple managers openings that are opened up. The teen programming HQ manager, we need to post again. With the YALSA blog. I think there were some that Carla had on the slide. So if you weren't, if you missed it, just email me or Letitia, and we'll find a place for you, because we can't run the association without volunteers. And it's all volunteer run. Letitia and Carla and Lamoya do an awesome job, but to do the work, that's us. They just make sure that it gets to where it needs to go to get printed, but we're the ones that do it. And so without those volunteers, we can't get the work we need to get done. So I know everybody has lots of different things on their plates, but if you could give a little time, that would be wonderful. Also, I just keep trying to remind people that there is that 3-committee rule that is for an ALA thing. And sometimes if you like to volunteer, we like to ask you to do lots of stuff, but so do the other divisions and roundtables. And you might be working on something at home as well, because I know a lot of people are working at their state chapters or even the local level, but we do have lots of opportunities. For me, when I got involved, this was a great way to learn about YALSA and learn about the association and to see the different pieces. And then also just to voice your personal stuff. This is how you make sure that your voice is at the table. I'm a member of the LGBT community. And so when I first joined, I wanted to make sure that my voice was heard in the selection process of material. I wanted to make sure that, you know, I was giving an authentic voice. So, and you need to represent. And so that's how I got involved, besides being a liaison to the YALSA board. But it was, yeah, over time, it's a great way to learn different pieces. And all this stuff, I keep reminding people, is work experience that you can take home with you. Everything I've learned on a YALSA committee, on a YALSA task force, has helped me in my own career. I started as a young adult librarian, and now I'm a director of a library and a recreation director. So I've gotten extra jobs, but it's just all the stuff I learned being on a committee. And you also, it's a great way to make new friends. I mean, academically, I have friends that work in colleges, like Abby's a professor. I mean, we have a whole birth of different people working in the field, but our goal is to help teens and to work with teens. And that's why we all have a passion for it. And it's, people think, oh, you moved up your manager now. I still have the same passion for working with teen services as I did when I first got my first job. That's why I'm still active in YALSA. Even though people try to pull me away, I still make sure that I'm representing. And I always remind my colleagues who got promoted, we even have a bigger voice now because now we control budgets. And as all you teen service librarians know, sometimes we're at the very back and we have our little tin cup asking for money. But now that you can control a budget, I can make sure that a good portion of the budget goes to teen services. But everything I've learned through YALSA, and there's lots of different ways to get that experience that will help you in your career, or at least get your voice out there, and you have a place in our history of making things happen. So, and we can't do that without volunteers. So if we're working on the strategic committees, we're getting them in place, but there are lots of opportunities still. And don't worry, there's always somebody who's on a committee that will help you out. If you're a first-time chair, there's lots of support out there. We have great manuals, and you're never alone. And working with YALSA, you always have somebody to lean on and somebody to ask questions to. And that's one of the great things about working on a committee. Even if it's your very first time, you're going to have a great time. And we want to make sure that you have a great time. And that volunteers, great. I mean, I've had to turn stuff down because I get so involved now, but it's a great way to learn stuff. And we remember. So if you tell us something, we'll remember you said that to me 3 years ago, and I'll come back and ask you again. Huh, Letitia? Me and Letitia are really good about, we put those in the catalog. I still have spreadsheets for people who told me they were going to run for governance. So
Yeah,
we don't forget, and we want to make sure that eventually you get what you're looking for too, because
that's true. He's telling you the truth. We do remember.
Yeah, and Franklin, when you were talking about, the support that the chairs get, we assign every committee or task force a board liaison. So folks on the board, they all serve as like that connector to the president, to the rest of staff. So if you do have questions, they're in your back pocket. They're your support to help get things done. So I know we're kind of throwing out a lot of names of committees and task forces. Letitia or Franklin, do you guys want to speak to like where do they find this information? What's like the first step to learning more about what's there?
Franklin, you tell them.
Well, I always refer people to our Get Involved page. Letitia knows. I like to send people to the Get Involved page first on the YALSA website, because that really covers everything. Starting in the spring, we start doing strategic committees. So that's all the, organizational bylaws, all the stuff that some people don't think is exciting. In the fall, we do the appointments for all the selection lists, as well as the award committees. So if you are thinking about the Prince, the Odyssey, and now Poor Belpre, which is now also where YALSA is involved with that award. We have a bunch of different ones. So it really depends on what you like to do. But I always send people to the Get Involved page. It has links out to the YALSA, all the different committees, the different types of committees, the task force. And then sometimes we do, the board will develop a new task force that will be short term. So sometimes we may, if we know you're looking for something, or we know a colleague will maybe point you out, which I've been doing lots of networking this year of having friends tell me about other people they work with to put them on committees. That page on the YALSA website is the best thing. Now, if you're curious too, you want to ask about a committee, on the contact page, there is the list of the directory, and in that there's a list of all the chairs and their contact information. So you can always email a chair of a committee directly to get some feedback from them. And usually what we try to do is pair people up with, especially the chairs, the incoming chair with an outgoing chair, just so you can get a knowledge of what's going on and what they're working on. Because some committees do work on stuff for several years, so.
Yeah, and Colleen added in the chat too some of the committees that helped her grow. So division membership and promotion, that's one that we're really working, we shorten it, we call it the DMP. We're really working closely with, especially with the strategic plan and welcoming our new members. Like Lamoya shared, we've seen an increase in numbers, and we just want to make sure that we're helping people get the best experience when they get started. So that definitely is a committee, and a great one to start with, that we're really focusing on this year. Local arrangements too. We've got folks on the ground in DC. So when we go to annual, they will be helping us out with several events at the conference. So that's a great way to get started too. So.
Some are a year long and some are short term, so it really depends. Some could be 3 months, some could be a full year. So there is a whole variety of different ones that you can work on, and that we always need help on. So I think we'll have 101 this year at annual, but we want to record a new one because the one we have online's sort of old, but we want to make sure that people are aware of the different awards and the benefits of being a YALSA member, because that gives you access to our grants and our awards and our scholarships. So check out that get involved page. That's one of the best pages we have on YALSA. We have lots of other good ones too, but that one, if you wanted to volunteer, that's where you always start first. And like I said, if you have questions, feel free to reach out to any of the board members or the staff, and they'll answer your questions too. And like, if you have technical difficulties, we are recording this, so we will post this later on somewhere so you can find it. So if you missed a piece, don't stress. And I know sometimes my internet wonks out too, so it's a life in Zoom,
Yeah, and YALSA 101 that Franklin mentioned is a really good opportunity if folks are going to be at conference. I'm curious how many are going to be there. I know that the incoming board members are, just curious if a lot of people are. So YALSA 101 is a session that the Division and Membership Promotion Committee is putting on. A lot of the board members will be present, and again, you'll get to meet folks and just learn about what you're interested in. So that's a great first step to go to. And yes, JMeeta is being recorded. So yeah. And I wanted to spend a few minutes, if we could talk about like what folks get in return from volunteering. So I know we've been talking about a lot about, hey, we need you, there's this and that, and that is true, and we do. We can't do it without you, but thank you, Matthew. But also too, if we could speak to what folks get in return. And I feel like Letitia's the expert on this. I know I know a few things, but I know I forget things too. So I know folks get discounts in the webinars, or a different the member rate than if they're not members. And We also get access to the YALS journal, which is digital. And I know there's a lot more.
Weekly e-news that comes out
Yes,
to
the
tell you
e-news.
what's happening, and you get that every Wednesday, I think it is. It goes out. Yeah, y'all, as you mentioned, that is our digital journal, and the webinars. I mean, there's so much. And as soon as this is over, I'll say, oh, I forgot to mention this and forgot to mention that. But please check out the recording. My name is Letitia Smith. Email me. I do respond. Oh, I try to respond within an hour after you send me the email, because I know I hate for people to send me an email or I call and they go, we'll get back to you. And a week later, I'm still waiting for a phone call or response. So I will help you. And if I don't know the answer, I will get you in touch with someone who can help you.
Awesome.
Yeah, and I was going to say, I was just going to add, for as far as members are concerned, our monthly membership webinars are free to members, and so I work on those. I know that the Education Advisory Committee, which I work with, plans the webinars, and so if you would be interested in serving on that committee, that would be great. I mean, we're always looking for new ideas, and I'd really like to kind of take our webinars to the next level. And so, I would appreciate anybody who would be willing to help out with that. So you can email me if you have need additional information, Franklin, Letitia, like we've said, but thanks.
Yeah, and Colleen, thank you for sharing the URL for the member benefits. So yes, that will that will be the most comprehensive place. Thank you. All right, well, if we want to spend more time on volunteer opportunities, we certainly can if there's any questions or comments, or we can move on to any challenges or difficulties folks may have experienced in trying to volunteer or just anything with YALSA. We're here to listen and to figure out what we can do to make it better or do differently. So don't be shy.
Yeah, if you have a question, use the raise your hand feature, because then that way we can make sure we can unmute you so you can ask your question if you don't want to type.
Yes, good point. Ooh, good question. Where should we look for the strategic plan? So it is on our website. I don't have it at my fingertips, but I'm sure we can grab it. And we also have the process of the strategic plan on the website. So it's not, just a PDF up there. It really details, thank you, Colleen. It really details how we worked with consultants, and the members were just a huge voice in shaping what the strategic plan is. So definitely check that out. That's a great question, Christine. So we had multiple focus groups, and feedback was at the center of making the plan what it is. So that's a very fresh document. It's our 3-year plan, and we're still working through it all the time and making it happen. And you can always email us too if you don't want to ask any questions now. But really, if you've experienced something that's been difficult, and it could be the website, just trying to navigate the website, or
That the update is in our strategic plan. That's one of the things that we're working on, is getting that updated. One of the big things that we tried to eliminate a barrier for, that we've been working on for several years, was the making the award committees virtual. So we knew that for a long time, a lot of members who wanted to be involved in the award committees, the requirement was you had to come to conference, and that's a financial barrier for a lot of members. But we now have the bulk of all of the YALSA awards are now virtual. So you don't have to come to conference anymore. Right now, the only two that are still requiring a little conference attendance, it's just one meeting now, is the Pour Bill Pray and the Odyssey, because those are two awards that we share with two other divisions. So they are requiring that the winter meeting where they make the announcement, that's the only meeting you have to go to now. So that does free up a lot of people, because I know sometimes traveling, a lot of us who are teen services, summer is our busy time because we have summer reading going on, and you can't always get away. So the midwinter meeting is usually where we would go, because we also have the YMAs there. So now the ALSC and Reforma have both agreed that and YALSA too, that we just will have our members just go to the midwinter meeting for those two committees. But now all of our other committees have gone virtual, and the YALSA board has also technically gone all virtual in our new bylaw update. So we will be changing this a little bit in the future, so we can have our meetings outside of conference, but would allow board members to actually go and network at conference and actually be able to participate in different things happening at conference. Because I know there were several years where I was on the board where I missed authors that I would have loved to see, but we had a meeting. So the pandemic it's a good and a bad thing for us, but one of the good things that came out of it was us being able to move our stuff virtually. We are meeting this year at conference, but in the future we're going to hopefully try to make it easier, so people who want to run for governance, who can't get away from their home libraries, will be able to run and actually participate, because we've actually been using Zoom a lot longer than everybody else. I remember my first time on the board, this is my introduction to Zoom, and that was several years ago. And we used it once a month, except now I'm a pro at using Zoom on the back end side of it anyway. So.
Thanks, Franklin. I saw a question from Jamie in the chat. I don't know if this is for you, Carla, or anybody else know. My acceptance letter for grad school was delayed, so they would have missed the 2022 deadline for scholarships. Just wondering.
Yeah, the scholarships have passed for this year, so the next one would be next year, right, Letitia? Or Carla, that's when we'd open up, because right now our cycle for this year has gone past. So
they will open in November. The deadline is December 1st.
Perfect. Great, yeah. So.
But we'll have it in the YALSA e-news. It'll be on the website. It will be everywhere. You will know when.
We're going to market the heck out of them this year, because that's on my to-do list, because we want to make sure that the ones that we still have funding for get awarded to people, because and that's the benefit of being a YALSA member. You're a YALSA member, you have access to these scholarships. So, and that's what they're there for. They're to help our members. So.
And it's word of mouth. Please tell your friends.
Mm-hmm.
Or not, if you want to win it, yourself.
Oh, right, yeah. That's so true. And if you come to YALSA 101 at annual, we will be talking more about the awards. So please come. We look forward to seeing all of you there in person, and come over and say hi. I'll be standing at the door. Oh, Grace Hammond. Hi Grace, you won the Innovation Award.
Ah.
How are you?
That's awesome.
Great. See, I remembered you. I told you I remember people.
Yeah, that might be a Lamoya question. I don't know, maybe offline that we can definitely get back to you on, Grace. So about that specifically. Yeah, thank you for asking.
So just to briefly address, because we wouldn't want to not address everyone's concern. I took a moment to read. It's in regards to the Innovation and Team Services Award. And, you know, some of these things are just ongoing in progression. The pandemic has definitely taught us one thing, right? That flexibility and revigorating, reviving, all of the reviewing, all of those words are very integral and ingrained into how YALSA has and will move. So I would very much love to visit with you as President Kelly emphasized offline for your specific situation. And again, I can't say enough, staff alongside board here has made it clear. We know that we have a strategic plan and we have many of the forms and meetings and governance to adhere to, but we definitely want to make sure with membership, you have to personalize it. So just as Letitia has called someone by name here, we want to make sure that your membership is catered to you and your community that you serve. And the best way to do that is to be very open in a space such as this, because we all need those spaces professionally and personally. And so I just look forward to working with all of you to make sure in my accountability as the interim ED that I support the efforts that I'm already seeing here. And I'm very excited because I can already see that this forum will continue to foster and grow. And from it, we will get more planning, more engagement through it. So again, in regards to the Innovation and Team Services Award, please reach out to Kelly alongside myself and Franklin. In any of the communication, I want to make a practice to make sure that I include the leadership here, because that is how we will come to the answers that you deserve. Thank you.
Like Lemoy said, that is also the purpose of the forum. We really do want to hear from the membership, and this is a great way. Like you said, if you raise your hand, we can unmute you so you could talk, because I know not everybody likes to type this stuff, but we sometimes something gets overlooked until a member says, hey, this doesn't look right. Can we look at it? And so once you do that, we start to get the ball rolling, because sometimes, I mean, there is a lot of stuff on the YALSA page, lots of stuff. And sometimes it gets missed, or somebody hasn't said anything about it for a while. And it's stuff, every time I go to the website, I find something new and I try to make a note to make sure that I send it up to get fixed. And but yeah, if there's something that is looking odd, that doesn't sound right, or doesn't sit well with you, let us know right away. I mean, and if you don't hear back from us, just keep pestering. I discovered this year that my city's email loves to eat my email. So I finally had to make a new email. So yeah, I try to make sure that we're trying to get things addressed quickly. But like I said, sometimes it does take a little while to get things moving. But we haven't forgotten. Sometimes it's in the back burner that we have, it's moving along, but people don't see it yet because it hasn't come up as a board document, but we have people working on stuff, so.
Oh, right. Colleen lost access to YALSA e-news. Any thoughts on bringing that to the website or a location that doesn't rely on email?
Yeah, that's a great idea. Like making sure that we have a page where it has like the last ones you could see.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah, and if someone does lose getting access, how do they sign back on?
Well, it could not be just you sign up with a different email, but I think having just a spot where we could go back and look at what came out, like we do with YALS. We do that right now with YALS. We can go back and look at the back issues. But that's a great idea, because it does happen. Like I discovered that my city's filter is more vicious than it was before. And those things that turn, I've discovered my own personal email now is marked as spam. I've emailed too many librarians this year. So that would be a great way to just go to a site where you can see all the ones listed, all the newsletters that came out. So
yeah, I agree. I'm just asking short term because we're not there yet. And so if someone does lose receiving it, we do have someone that coordinates the e-news, so perhaps we can reach out to them. There is a help email that Colleen contacted on the website, so we might have to revisit where that's going to. But we do have your email, Colleen, so we'll definitely make sure to work on that. And Carla just sent over the evaluation. So yeah, before everybody leaves, I know we're not ending right this second, but we just want to send that and make sure that you all have the opportunity to fill that out if you can. And I wanted to give a shout out to Morgan Bricky Jones. I see you. So you're the incoming board fellow. So I just wanted to say hello and welcome. Got a lot of incoming board members here. So that's very exciting. So thanks for coming.
And if you do say YALSA a survey, please fill it out, take the time. It's as much as, I mean, I get tons of surveys, but the ones that have to do with our profession, I think are the most that we should just take that moment, fill it out. Because as someone who sent out surveys one time to all the membership, and we have over a few thousand members and only 63 got returned, I was really disappointed. But it's like that, those surveys do help move us along, because we're getting feedback from our members. And I always tell myself, even if you can't do it right now, mark it, flag your email to come back later the day or the next day and fill it out, because those surveys really do help the board, helps the committee that sends it out. It really helps to make sure that we're doing the right thing, because sometimes if no one fills it out and somebody did, we're going to go with the ones who did, and then it could be something that no one else wanted. So got to make sure you fill those surveys out, because it's the best way to make sure that your voice is heard too, just like voting.
Yeah, and it should be painless. They're short questions. So thanks, Jamie, for filling yours out. Any other questions? If we don't fill the full hour, I think that's okay. This has been, I think, a great discussion, great feedback. Awesome, Julie. So yeah, definitely. You got a lot of links. Yes. Thank you for Colleen for sharing. Any other questions anyone hasn't asked yet? And if not, you can put names to faces and feel free to reach out to us that way. We're more than happy to answer.
And don't forget, all of our meetings are public, so when you can always come to a board meeting. If you're not sure about how it works, you can come and sit and observe. We love an audience. I sit by myself at board meetings watching the board, so it's always nice to sit with somebody else watching too. Huh, Letitia? But it's really, at a board meeting, you really can see how we're working and what we're working on, because sometimes we try to put it out there so everybody sees it, but sometimes you don't get to see the passion that goes behind it. So, and I have been at some board meetings where there have been heated passion and debate over stuff that people didn't realize that they had debated about. So all of the board meetings are open to the public. And then usually when we have sometimes when we used to have meetings, you could come to those, but there's lots of stuff that's a great way to see how we're working and what we're working on. And occasionally we'll ask for your input too, because we want to hear back from our membership, because like I said, that's hearing from you helps us move forward. And also that's the same way we're always trying to get you to volunteer. It's a great way to make sure that we are moving the profession and what we do forward as well. So
yeah, and this will be the first time this board will have been together for what, 2 years?
Over 2 years, yeah.
Yeah, so I swear I'm bringing tissue with me, because it's just it's gonna be great, but yeah, it'll be emotional. Anything else? All right, well, I know that Lamoya looks to hopefully do these quarterly. So I believe Franklin, being incoming president, will definitely lead the next one and tell folks about this. We'd love to see you all again, but if we can bring in even new members, that would be great as well.
And a great thank you to the YALSA staff for staying late, because it's already after their normal work hours. And I also want to thank Kelly for accommodating us West Coasters, because I wanted to make sure that we had time for people, if you got off at 5 o'clock, that you could make it home in time to see the forum and be at the forum, because we're trying to make sure that all of our membership, including school librarians, get a chance to attend the forums. And so sometimes that means a little later for the East Coast, a little later for me, and especially the YALSA staff who do a tremendous amount of work for us. We could not keep this going without their help.
For sure. All right, well, if no one has any other questions, comments, I think we'll wrap up. And thank you all for coming.
Thank you.
All right, have a great night.
Bye, everybody.
Bye.
Bye.